Hey everyone! So wasn't it fun that our last 2 weeks we've been focusing on the word humor? Finding a little levity even when things get some stickiness to them. Uh, as self-importance increases, sense of humor decreases. So getting rid of that self-importance and being overly self-conscious, and I think about the times that you have a choice where you could either cry or scream or laugh. And when I've chosen to laugh, it all works out so much better. I was thinking about one of my first days at work. I think it was my first day at work in Lower Merion Township, where I was so excited about making a great first impression. And I got out of my car in the parking lot and I saw a bunch of the public works workers outside. And so I was like, the welcoming committee, hi everybody, good morning. Hi, I'm Brenda, I'm the new public information officer. And I was so busy being cheerful and perky that I stepped right into the concrete that they were pouring on my new shoes. I was stuck in the concrete my first day of work. And I either could have cried at that moment or laughed. And I chose to laugh and find the humor in it. And even years later, the guys came into my office when I was leaving to take another position. And they said, we'll never forget that day. It sort of created a bond. And if you can laugh at yourself, and I found that the more I love myself, the more I can laugh at myself and at everything. Because if I truly believe that I'm worthy, that I'm loved, that everything's working out for me, and I live in that state of love instead of fear, then I don't take things so personally, one of the first of the 4 agreements, and that I can lighten up in life. So I hope you found reasons to laugh these past 2 weeks. And as I was dealing with some internal work and healing in my own personal life and in my heart, it was really nice to get a word that said, even when you're doing and dealing with the difficult stuff, it doesn't have to be a heavy. So I'm asking for a word for all of us for the next 2 weeks to help guide our path and encourage us. So here we go. Guide my fingers. The answer is understanding. I love when I finally can understand something. And the first thing that comes to mind is, if you really want understanding, don't be afraid to ask a question. Being curious about life and asking questions from a genuine heart that wants to know, not to challenge or cause someone to defend. And I think that's where we get tripped up. There's dissonance or static between people, and we're so afraid of conflict that we never raise the question and say, so help me understand. See, here's the thing. These are the 3 words that will help any conversation, especially if you're facing a difficult one. Instead of coming out and saying, what were you thinking when you did that? Which kind of puts people on the defensive. Frame it this way. Help me understand. I want to know what you were thinking and your reasoning behind A, B, or C. I recently had a conflict with a new friend in my apartment complex, and man, I was offended. And I could have supposed what was going on with that person, and I knew more than anything I needed to give it space before it was addressed, because I didn't want to come at it from a place of anger or inflamed emotion. I was, as I can be, predisposed to just sort of wash that person right out of my hair. And yet we're in close proximity and I see them regularly, and that static was uncomfortable every time I saw them. And so I did what one of my favorite scriptures says to do: pray for a door to speak the truth. And I did pray a couple months ago for a door, and there was no door, so I didn't walk through it. And then there was a sublime, serendipitous meeting, collision, and to not talk would have spoken more volumes than any words. And the conversation was had, and the words, "Help me understand," produced an answer that was not defensive, and it helped me understand. And because of that new understanding, the static is cleared, and there's a new beginning in this new friendship. So, seeking to understand rather than to be heard or to be understood. So many times we're just, you got to hear me out, but sometimes you need to step back and hear them out first. I hope that this is helpful to some of you out there who may be facing a conflict or a difficult conversation. And may understanding build a bridge of love that you can walk over and have a new beginning. Wishing that for all of us this week and every week. Have a great one.